Australia looks incredible in videos, but that's not the question. The real question is how much it actually costs, how long you really need, and whether this trip makes sense once you factor in the flight, the distance, and the planning. This is not a highlight reel. This is a clear breakdown of Australia, what it's really like to travel here, what to expect, what to avoid, and how to do it right without wasting money or time. If you're planning a trip to Australia, this video will save you from expensive mistakes. Australia is massive, almost the size of the continental United States, and that single fact changes everything. Distances are long, regions feel like different countries, and trying to see everything in one trip is the fastest way to burn out. Australia works best when you slow down, choose fewer places, and build your trip around regions instead of checklists. The flight is the first mental barrier. From the West Coast, non-stop flights usually take around 14 to 15 hours, while trips from the East Coast take closer to 18 to 22 hours with a connection. It sounds intense, but in practice it's a stable overnight flight, and once you arrive, the reward is a country that feels familiar yet completely different. Because of the distance, a trip shorter than 10 days rarely makes sense. The ideal range is 12 to 16 days, which gives you time to adjust, explore, and enjoy without constantly packing and moving. Flight prices are often lower than expected. Round-trip economy fares typically fall between $900 and $1,300 from major West Coast hubs, and between $1,200 and $1,600 from the East Coast. Prices vary heavily by season, with February, March, May, and August often offering the best deals, while December is the most expensive due to summer holidays. One of the simplest ways to save money is flexibility. Shifting your dates by a few days can reduce flight costs significantly. Timing your trip correctly makes a huge difference. Australia's seasons are reversed, so summer runs from December to February and winter from June to August. For most travelers, the best balance of weather, prices, and crowds happens in April, May, September, and October. These months offer mild temperatures, good conditions for sightseeing, and more reasonable hotel rates. Peak summer is hot, busy, and expensive, especially in cities and beach areas, while northern regions like the Great Barrier Reef experience extreme heat and humidity between January and March, making those months less comfortable for outdoor activities. Choosing where to go is where most people make or lose value. Australia is not one experience, it's several completely different ones. Sydney is often the starting point and offers a strong mix of iconic landmarks, beaches, and urban life. The Opera House, the Harbour Bridge, coastal walks, and areas like Bondi make it easy to fill several days without feeling rushed. Sydney does come at a higher cost, with daily expenses ranging from about $120 to $150 for budget travelers, $180 to $250 for mid-range, and $350 or more for high-end travel. Melbourne offers a different energy, more focused on food, culture, and neighborhoods. It's known for its cafe scene, creative vibe, and easy access to one of the world's best scenic drives, the Great Ocean Road. Many travelers find Melbourne slightly cheaper than Sydney, especially when it comes to dining, and it often ends up being a favorite city because it feels less tourist-driven. For nature-focused trips, the Great Barrier Reef remains one of the strongest reasons to visit Australia. Base towns like Cairns, Port Douglas, and Airlie Beach offer access to full-day reef tours that typically cost between $180 and $250, including equipment and meals. Booking directly with tour operators rather than through hotels helps avoid unnecessary markups and gives you more control over schedules and conditions. The Outback delivers a completely different experience. Uluru, in particular, stands out not just as a natural landmark, but as a deeply cultural and spiritual place. Climbing Uluru is prohibited, and respecting local guidelines is essential. Travel here costs more due to limited accommodation and flights, but for many people, it becomes the most memorable part of the entire journey. Getting around the country requires planning. Distances are too large for trains to be practical in most cases, so domestic flights are common and surprisingly affordable. Popular routes like Sydney to Melbourne often cost between $70 and $120, while longer routes such as Sydney to Cairns usually range from $120 to $200. Renting a car makes sense for road trips, especially along coastal routes or in regions like Tasmania. Driving is on the left, but most visitors adjust quickly. Accommodation is one of the biggest expenses. Budget hotels generally range from $90 to $130 per night, mid-range hotels from $150 to $220, and luxury hotels often start around $300 per night. Apartments and short-term rentals can be cost-effective for longer stays, especially outside city centers. A reliable way to reduce costs is choosing locations near public transportation rather than staying directly next to major attractions. Food quality in Australia is consistently high, but prices reflect strong wages and high standards. Coffee typically costs $4 to $5, casual meals range from $15 to $20, and sit-down restaurant meals usually cost between $25 and $40. Tipping is not expected, which balances out higher menu prices. Local favorites include meat pies, fresh seafood, modern Asian-influenced dishes, and flat white coffee. Australia is considered very safe, but common mistakes still happen. People often underestimate distances, forget sun protection, swim outside designated areas, or interact too closely with wildlife. Beach safety is especially important, and swimming should always be done between the red and yellow flags where lifeguards are present. When everything is added up, a realistic 12 to 14-day trip typically costs between $2,800 and $3,300 for budget travel, $3,800 to $4,800 for mid-range travel, and $6,000 or more for higher-end experiences. These estimates include flights, accommodation, food, transport, and key activities. Australia is not a destination you rush, and it's not one you plan casually. But when it's done right, it delivers a rare mix of comfort, adventure, and scale that few places in the world can match. If this guide helped you, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment with the part of Australia you'd want to explore first, because the next video breaks down a complete Australia itinerary with daily budgets and money-saving strategies.